Jackson Square was the social cultural capital, if you will, of Oak Ridge during those early years of community formation, late in 1942, but particularly in early 1943. I'm standing in front of what was known as the Chapel on the Hill, an interdenominational place of worship that was heavily used, and more than 4,000 weddings reported to have taken place within this small building that was based on a standard military chapel design. I'm here with Bill Westcott, who's going to talk a little bit about his early reflections on life, spiritual and otherwise, in Knoxville, located 20 miles away from where I'm standing, and where he went to school and to church, and he'll tell us a little bit about daily life in Knoxville.
And Phil, we also went to, as a memory, I remember going to Cass Walker's, the place to go for your, if you didn't grow your own corn, because we always had a victory garden. We had a victory garden where we, during the war, where we always had tomatoes and green beans and corn and great stuff. So a victory garden was very important when we were here in East Tennessee. But if we didn't have something seasonally, we'd go to a place called Cass Walker's. And Cass Walker's was kind of a, I don't think there's any actual place like it today, but Cass Walker's is where you get your produce and things like that. And as a little kid in first and second grade, it was the first place I ever saw a rat. You know, my first rat was Cass Walker's. And so I remember talking to my mom, God rest Genevieve's soul, about, hey, what was that? What was that animal we saw? It was really cute. It was really cute. And I said, no, it was a rat. Rats aren't cute. And so we had an interesting life around here. And as far as going out to eat, we didn't go out to eat like we did now. But when we did eat, like Sunday after Mass at St. Mary's downtown in Knoxville, we'd go to the S&W cafeteria. And there were only 4 decent places to eat in eastern Tennessee. And the S&W cafeteria was just phenomenal, just incredible, best quality food. And you had these gigantic black guys about this big, dressed like in tuxedos, and they carry your tray to the table for you. But the food was just absolutely incredible. And during the war, Second World War, everything was rationed. We had talked about that earlier, about rationing, and you had stamps, you saved stamps, and sugar was rationed, meat was rationed. I mean, everything was rationed because of the war effort. And people really get into it. People really supported the whole war effort. There wasn't any question about political stuff or any of this garbage you hear nowadays. But so I remember putting the stamps, my mother, God bless her, she had me putting stamps in the little stamp books, and you had so many stamp books, and you could trade them in on a pound bag of sugar or whatever. And so rationing was a real way of life, and everybody just pretty much accepted it. And one of the things we used to do is, because of the war effort and things like that, one of the other places we used to go for Sunday brunch after Mass was the Andrew Johnson Hotel. So the finest hotel in this part of Tennessee was the Andrew Johnson Hotel. And the Andrew Johnson Hotel is this beautiful, beautiful table settings and good service and everything like that. But because of the lack of meat during the war, their thing that they served you with your fancy eggs and fancy biscuits and everything on Sunday brunch was fried bologna. So fried bologna was the meat of the day at this fancy, fancy hotel. And then just to get back a little bit to the impact on me personally of segregation, when we would walk on a downtown street, if there were black people coming the other way, they would literally cross the street, and so you maintained your right-of-way walking on the sidewalk if you were white, and they were supposed to either get off the sidewalk or cross the street. And every place you see these like public restrooms, and they'd say, big sign over the door, it said whites only, whites only. So the segregation was really strong. And the other thing I like to do as a little kid, first and second grade, you know, living around here, I loved to ride in the back of the bus, the back of the trolley. And they had a significant trolley system here in Knoxville. And so if I rode and going to school, if I rode in, which I did, I rode in the back of the bus or the back of the trolley, the white Tennesseans would come back and say, "Sorry, son, you can't sit back here. That's for the niggers, and you white people, you're a white person, and you have to sit up front." So the white adults would not let me sit as a kid, as a white kid in the back. I was not allowed to sit in the back of the trolley.
In a minute, we'll go down the hill away from the chapel on the hill and visit another historic site from those early days of Oak Ridge, where VIPs would come and stay in an inn and be greeted by General Groves or Colonel Nichols or other Corps of Engineers dignitaries.